So there was a podcast episode of the Illini Inquirer before the weekend that is a must listen for any Big Ten Hoops fans, certainly any Illinois fans. But Werner and Mike LaTulip had Isaac Trotter, one of our favorites, on that episode. It's a great discussion of the conference as a whole. Anytime you get, I think all three of these guys, to be honest, Werner and LaTulip do a great job. But I love LaTulip's basketball analysis in general. People know this, and Isaac Trotter is just great at all of this. It's a must listen. Go listen to the Illini Inquirer. But there's a clip that went viral. LaTulip put it out, and it's him discussing Illinois' retention and why they had such a great offseason and why he thinks they're being a little bit slept on relative to the rest of the conference coming into next year. I'm going to play a clip from it. You can listen to his words specifically, and then we can dive into it more. But he used the words, "It's not an overhaul." He keeps hearing people talk about this Illini roster, this offseason they had as an overhaul. It's not an overhaul. And you need to take into account how much they're returning. This is a point he made a couple weeks ago that we talked about in a short. He's doubling down and doing so more emphatically here. Here's the clip of LaTulip discussing this.
I think if you were going to go with a second team, it's Illinois. And I've had multiple interviews since their off-season's wrapped up, and everyone keeps referring to this thing as an overhaul again. It's not an overhaul. They got like 6 guys back from last year, which, that may be pretty good for some teams. It's damn good for this Illinois team because we just haven't experienced that the last few years. So where they filled in those key holes, it wasn't a crazy volume of guys, but it was the right guys. It was a table-setting point guard and Petrovic, and you get Mirkovic to be kind of a bruiser guy that can step out. Stojakovic fills that wing scoring punch hole. Z can be a guy that I think he'll rotate in at the 5. There's people that think that they're going to start Twin Towers. I don't necessarily see that.
I get some questions about that.
Yeah, it's just that's what makes the most sense to me. And
so I'm going to stop it there. You can go listen to the full interview. You should go listen to the full interview. It's a fantastic episode. Big Ten offseason roundtable. Your thoughts on this idea that Illinois did not overhaul? They got 6 guys back. Your thoughts?
I mean, I just think that when you look at it, though, yes, there is some truth to that, and I'm not saying that there isn't, but at the same time, it is, I think, more of an overhaul on like the production you're replacing, right? Like you are replacing basically Kasparis, you are replacing Will Riley with incoming guys because I don't think you expect, like, obviously they expect Big T to be really good again. I think he's going to be a major contributor, but I don't think in a real idealistic world, Illinois fans or even Illinois team themselves want like Kylan Boswell to be like the go-to guy or the best player or be in that role that those guys are in, right? They'd rather have it in a spot where it's the new guys who are stepping up, and it's Petrovic stepping up and being the table setter, and that other guard, and it's Stojakovic being like the number one option possibly for Brad Underwood in this team. And I just think that last year's team underwhelmed in ways that they had a lot of adversity and a lot of things that weren't their fault, but also some things that were self-induced. But they did lose a lot from last year's team, so. I don't know. I just look at more so the losses when talking about things such as overhaul because, they lost Kasparis, they lost Will Riley, they lost Morez Johnson. Like they lost Trey White. They lost a good amount of players. And, some of the players that are coming back, there's mixed bags on if people even wanted those guys back. Like people wanted Henrique out of the door for a large portion of this. And he's one of the players back. And, I'm looking at some of the other players coming back, and I don't know. I don't think that's the angle I would be taking necessarily. I think that they needed to. I think they needed to. I don't know if the word's overhaul, but I think there did need to be some pretty good turnover given what left the team.
Yeah. Okay. You and I are pretty much on the same page of it. I'm gonna sound a little redundant to what I said a couple of weeks ago when there was another clip like this that was circulating. I just disagree with the premise that like Illinois' story of their offseason or where they're headed is not the new pieces. Like I actually think what LaTulip said in this clip kind of drives home a point I made in the previous conversation about this. word for word, his sort of stance was like maybe for other programs it's not all that impressive, but given what Illinois has been, this feels enormous, right? Six guys back. I mean, that might not be something elsewhere. At Illinois, it's something. He's right. That's the story of the last 5 years of the Underwood era. It's been constant turnover. So I get, in essence, taking this year and feeling like there's so much substance to the fact that you got two starters back. That's great. I'm fine with it if we want to say it's not an overhaul. I'm totally okay with Latulip sort of framing it that way. I did look up the definition of overhaul though. Any guesses on the definition of overall? This video is brought to you by NBA2K Lab.com. 2K Lab worked with us last summer as well. They're one of our favorite entities in all of sports gaming. We want to show you their college basketball stadium locator challenge game. And I'm going to share a screen right now as we do this. South Carolina, bang. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. Next, North Carolina. Why are we only getting the Carolinas?
Please
Bang.
lock in.
St. John's. That's New York.
New York.
Bang.
Where's New Jersey?
We're on fire. Colorado. I actually don't know what state Colorado
is. It's in Colorado. There's a state of Colorado.
Is that this one?
It's to the right of Phoenix.
Anyway, you get the picture. This game's really fun. They've got more games as well, like Guess the NBA Player, Mystery Fantasy Draft, and more. Stay tuned for all of the college football content and games that they'll be putting together to help you get the best experience out of college football 26. Back to the video.
There's no way you're looking at me for a guess on the definition of overhaul.
Well, just the definition of overhaul would be to take apart something in order to examine it and repair it if necessary. And I guess let me just ask you that. Do you think Illinois basketball, Brad Underwood basketball coming off of last year, do they need to take apart what they did last year and examine it in order to improve it? Does the team that led the Big Ten in three-point volume but was last in the Big Ten in three-point makes need to take anything apart and examine it?
Yeah.
Probably, right? Yeah. You probably need to overhaul what you tried to do last year, which is why it's driving me nuts that we're acting like we don't want to. They weren't the champs last season. They didn't do anything, right? They went up against the champs. In fact, a Michigan State program that also returns two starters and got swept and had no answers for him. And that team won the league by 3 games. So I just if I'm an Illinois fan, I would want to feel like we are overhauling it. I wouldn't want to hear we're running this back, which by the way, you're not running it back. Yes, you got some nice pieces that will fit in between Kylan and Tom. Those guys are great, but largely Petrovic is a guy who does things that will fix what Kasparis was bad at, also playing that role. Stojakovic gives you something you just straight up didn't have on the wing last year, which is great. Humrickhouse back, again, it's not a minor thing. Who knows what's going to happen between Merkovich and Ivisic, but I just don't get why they want to frame it this way, other than being so, I guess, jilted by how negative last season ended up going when they were so excited about the talent and the youth that now it's like we got to go in the opposite extreme. We actually return this enormous amount and we're running it back. I wouldn't want to hear that,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's probably a little bit of there is a narrative that I think is earned too. It's not even a narrative. Illinois is very much the retention. We talked about the players that transferred out, leave. There was a lot of that. So, this being a year where there was a lot of retention, I think maybe that's kind of where the pride is in that.
Yeah.
This is the best. This is the best. Say what you want. This is the best retention they've had that I can remember.
Yeah, I mean it is great. In Latulip's words, they returned 6 guys. Can we name those 6 real quick?
So it's Boswell and Big T. Rickhouse. Ty Rogers is part of that, I'm guessing.
I'm assuming he's including him, but yeah. Ty Rogers, who played 0 minutes on last year's team.
Is the other one Jason Jacobs?
Yeah, so the six guys that returned to Illinois from last season are Kylan Boswell, Tom Ivisic, two starters, huge players, great returnees. Benham Rickhouse, presumably going to be a bench guy this year, started 26 games last year. So you return three extremely key pieces. And then you also return Jake Davis, who played 302 minutes last year. You return AJ Redd, who played 28 minutes last year. Those are the five players you returned that played on last year's team. And one of them is AJ Redd, and one of them is Jake Davis. But we are once again presenting this as if you return six key pieces from last year. You don't. You just don't.
Hmm.
And even if we're trying to generously say you do, then we're including AJ Redd and Tyrod, which Ty might be great this year. I don't know. Maybe he is. We don't need to present it like we're bringing six rotation players back. That's just flat out not what's happening. And simultaneously with this clip going around, Rothstein, did you see his Big Ten returning scoring by percentage tweet?
Yeah.
So he put this out, and I had a bunch of Illinois fans like tag me in it and be like, "See, like it's real." Uh, Rothstein had Purdue 86% of their scoring is back. They're in their own stratosphere, number one. Ohio State was second, 59% of scoring returning. UCLA third, 56%. Illinois fourth, 52%. Then you had Nebraska, Oregon, Northwestern, all 48, 48, 47. That's the upper half of the league. Michigan State and Michigan, then 40%, a little dip. Illinois fans tagging me in that as if this justifies like this special retention, I feel like are missing the plot, right? They're right in the mix with Ohio State, Nebraska, and Oregon in terms of retention. Are we calling that special?
Also, like you lost so much from last year that you needed to not have like yes, have some guys back, get Big T back, get Boswell back. That's great, but you needed more guys to come in and replace what you lost.
Yeah. Like the I think the point of Rothstein's tweet was trying to imply how unique Purdue's special retention is. And instead, I'm getting tagged by Illinois fans like, see, we're special because we're 7% less returning scoring than Ohio State. I just don't get it. I truly don't get it. Look, I have, again, same thing I said a couple weeks ago. I have so much belief in like people saying you should pick Illinois to finish high. If you want to say Illinois should win the Big Ten next year, I won't even hate that take. But doing it because they return Kylan Boswell and Tom Ivisic, as if that's the reason Illinois will be good, I think is missing the mark. If Illinois is actually living up to how good this team is, it will largely be because the new pieces are better than the pieces that left the team. Petrovic somehow outplays Kasparis. Stojakovic is the best wing they've had since Terrence Shannon. That could happen. And if that happens, it'll be awesome. It's very much within the realm of possibility. But if Illinois wins the league because Boswell and Tom Ivisic are both first team All Big Ten players, and the story becomes we brought these guys back after the inconsistencies they played with last year, it would shock me, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right.